Hello, in this video we'll go through an example of creating parameters, using them as filters, and using parameters with sets. To get started, I have opened a file called create parameter starting file. It has got two different connections. One is the global superstore data. If you click on it, these are the dimensions and measures in that data. You can also click on the second link, which has a different data source, coffee chain. Let's get started first with global superstore data only. So let's say that we wanted to know at this time what is the total profit for average shipping cost. So this company is shipping out different products to its customers. So we wanted to know what is the relationship between the shipping cost and total profit. To do this, simply I would do sum of profit. So let's take that and put it under columns. And then let's say I want to know what is the relationship of this with average shipping cost. So I'll go ahead, get shipping cost, put it under rows, and then change the measure from sum to average. So now I see that there is just one point located which says average shipping cost and profit. This doesn't give us much information, so let's add a level of detail to it. We will take the order ID and put it on detail. This pop-up is asking the field being added contains 25,700 members and the recommended maximum is this. Do you still want to add all members? Yes, let's say we want to add all members. So it has a lot of data points plotted. For every order ID, we have what is the relationship between the profit and average shipping cost. What if I want to filter this with the help of shipping mode and want to know more about for different shipping modes, how is this different? Let's take shipping mode. We will add it to the filters. Let's say I want to use all of them, all the values, and go ahead and apply. Now shipping mode is shown under the filters. Let's click on this arrow next to shipping mode, make it as show filter, and right now this has come up as multi-select. So I want to make this as not multiple value list. Let's change this to single value list so that either you can select all of them at one time or first class or same day or second class. I want to check the values for standard class. So just for standard class shipping mode, this is the chart. So far, we have used only the basic things. Let's see how we can add a parameter to it. Before we go any further, I would go ahead and rename this. I would call it create parameter. So in this worksheet, you will use a parameter. To create a new parameter, let's say my condition here is that anything that's above $250, let's say, should appear in a different color, and any shipping cost that's below $250 should appear in a different color. Let's say arbitrarily, I want to have a shipping cost line here, and anything above that line is going to be a different color. Anything below that line is going to be a different color. And let's say I also want that line to be changeable. So sometime if I want the shipping cost, average shipping cost line to be here at 500, if I want the average shipping line color to be here at 200, 100, so whatever it is, I can change it to give the user that flexibility to choose what is the benchmark value or the cutoff value for average shipping cost. Let's go ahead and implement that. I will create a new parameter. To do that, you can click anywhere in this area, right click, and create parameter. I'm going to call it shipping cost cutoff. Cost cutoff. Creating a parameter basically gives us more flexibility or interactivity in our visualization. So I want to use data type as integers, only numbers here. Then allowable values, I don't want to allow all integers. I want to allow a list of integers, let's say. Then whatever value we think we want, we can enter here. I would say, let's say 5, 50. You can use any values you want. This is the one that I'm going to use based on the data we have here. And in display, I'm going to just add. So these are the actual numbers that will be given out. And this is what they will be shown as. To differentiate these two, just to let people know that this is a cost, I'm adding $sign in front of these numbers. So $50. And here. You don't have to do this step, but just to let you know that it looks better with the $sign. But the actual numbers are 5, 50, 250, and 500 if you use this parameter in any calculation. So I have created a new parameter. It's an integer type of parameter. The current value is $5. Here are the list of possible values that this parameter can take. I would go ahead and hit OK. As soon as you do that, you will see a numerical field has been created here under parameters, and it has these values. Let's go ahead and show this parameter control and see what happens. If you click on show parameter controls, right now you can see shipping cost cutoff and the current value is being shown. You can change these values using the drop down. And once again, just like the filters, you can change the display type based on what suits you. You can do like a single value list or a compact list or a slider, or you can allow the users to type in values as well. Since we have only given a given list of acceptable values, it's not a great idea to do slider or type in. List is the best way for this particular problem, but depending upon what is the range that you have selected, a slider or a type in value may be acceptable. So we do have that. Now let's use this new parameter into a calculated field. So I would create a new calculated field right here. Create calculated field. And this calculated field, I'm going to call it average shipping cost. And I'm also adding the word color to it because I am going to assign this field for the determination of color of this. So I'm just going to say that for now. And let's go ahead and write the formula here. So what I want with this field is that if the value of shipping cost cutoff is 5, then anything above 5 should be one color, anything below 5 should be a different color. So similarly, I am going to say if average of this value shipping cost, so shipping cost is greater than the value of the shipping cost cutoff, which is this parameter. So right now it means 5. Then I'm going to have different values to it. So let's say I want to say if it's greater, then call it high, else call the value as low. So based on what we have here, oh, I'm missing an end. So let's go ahead and add that end. Still we have some errors. Let's see, if average of shipping cost, I need to end this parentheses. Okay, so there were some errors, we just fixed them. If average of shipping cost is greater than the parameter value, and remember we can change the parameter value from here, then this variable or this calculated field is going to store the word high. Otherwise, it is going to store the word low. So this is basically a calculated field which is storing a string ABC, you see. So this is going to store a string. Now all we need to do is we are going to assign colors based on this. So let's take this and assign this to color. By doing that, by default it has used an automatic scheme. Blue is high, orange is yellow, but we can change any way we like. So I'm going to do high to be orange and low to be blue. So apply and OK. You can also, if you want to, you can go to the color and see there is something called as opacity of the colors. And this happens in any one, irrespective of whether it's using parameters or not. You can change the opacity of the colors. That way the colors, see how some of the color intensity will be light. So it's not too dark or bright colors or not too opaque. We can also, we have not used this feature yet, so let me show this border thing to you. Right now any of these circles have no borders, but we can go ahead and maybe add a border to it. So I've just added a black border to all of these circles. You can do these with any of the charts that you have made so far. We want to make sure that this is a circle. If you wanted to choose a different shape, you can change the shape of the marks here. Okay, so far that's this chart. Let's see what we are going to do with it. So we have standard shipping, which we have selected from here, standard class. Right now the shipping cost cutoff is $5, so anything that's above $5 is appearing in orange. Anything that's below $5 average shipping cost is appearing in blue. And here's your legend. What I don't like here is how the words high and low are spelled in mixed cases. So let's go ahead and correct that. I am going back to my calculated field, edit, and then I can change this and spell both of them in all uppercase. Apply and OK. So things have changed now. Oh, it also automatically changed my color scheme. So going back, edit colors. For high I wanted orange. Apply, OK. So we have everything looks good now. High and low and this. Now let's see how the parameter is useful. You see this parameter control, shipping cost cutoff. I can use this control to change the value of the cutoff. Right now the cutoff was $5. I can go ahead and change it to $50. So if my shipping cost is $50, then everything above it and below it is different color. I can go ahead and change my shipping cost cutoff to $250 and see how this changes. So basically, using a parameter, we have added more interactivity to our chart. To make this chart more readable, what I'm going to do is add a reference line here so that you clearly know that that is the value above which things are going to be orange and below it it's going to be blue. To do that reference line, I'm going to click on the Analytics tab, and if you go down Custom, here is a reference line. If you click on reference line and drag it, it's going to show, do you want the reference line at the table? We'll see how the table is coming up. Or do you want it at the pane, which is going to be each individual pane or cell? And do you want the reference line to cross the shipping cost or profit? Let's say I just want my shipping cost. So you will see a new line has appeared here. Let's modify the line based on these options. So we want it on the entire table. What is the value that this line is going to be using? So I want my line to represent that shipping cost cutoff value, which is coming from the parameter. So let's select the parameter, and the label that is right now is showing shipping cost cutoff, but we don't want that. Let's say I want to see what's the current value, 50 or 250 or whatever it is. So instead of label, I'm going to change it from computation to the actual value. When I do that, see what it changes. Right now it's showing whatever is the cutoff value. So, and then if you don't like this to be a gray line straight, you can change the formatting. If you wanted it to be a dashed line, if you wanted it to be a finer line, or more thick or more fine, so you can change that using these options. If you wanted to add a different color to it, usually this is not a data point, so try to keep it a little bit lighter. Okay, something like that, and hit OK. So we are showing the parameter, and we are actually showing the value of the parameter, not the computation. We have made it a lighter color using a dashed line, and that's it. So now you see this line is adding a reference point to your graph, telling you that this is the cutoff. Above it, everything is going to be orange or blue below it. Now see what happens to this line when you change this parameter control. Let's change it to 250 and see how this line is going to move up and how the color of everything has changed. If you change it to 500, and see how line moves up and the color changes accordingly. So this way it lets you have more interactivity in your charts.